Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kevin and Arthur again coming at you guys. We got a great guest for tonight, but before jumping in, I really just wanted to give a quick shout out, man, to all the listeners, all the subscribers. I mean, we just appreciate all y'all so much.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Art. It's been really a hell of a journey, and to come here every Wednesday, and when we look at some of the the subscriber count and the feedback that we've been getting. It's just been really tremendous, and I think it's great to have this listener appreciation shout out because, these guys that tune in weekly and watch us on YouTube, it's really the reason why we continue to do this. Obviously, we love it. We're going to continue to do it no matter what. But the respect and the love that you guys give us, it's just tremendous, and it warms my heart. It makes me feel good when I walk into this building every week, and bringing us into your living rooms every week. I love it. Thanks for allowing me and Arthur to be a part of your lives weekly. We love you guys.
Yeah, you guys kill it. We're about to jump into this bad boy, but had to show the love, appreciation. Let's all stay humble in this life, and we're all better with a good team. I got Kevin here, and I got the momentum of DCPC Nation and world behind us, and we're so excited to keep it coming. So we're going to jump into this bad boy, and much love, y'all.
We love you guys.
We'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion. Combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado, this is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
You're absolutely talented. I mean, the portfolio that you sent, I've seen a lot of your work already, and so that's super impressive, and you're also an entrepreneur. We just did an Instagram live for LoCo Plus. Everybody check that out, LoCo Plus.
Wasn't that fun?
That was fun.
That was cool to be a part of that. Right before we jump into the episode, that's the first time we've done that with a guest. Come in and do an IG live, and then we dive into the app. Megan, thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for coming on my IG live. I got you guys first, so lucky me. But yeah, this is awesome. I am so glad to be in Denver, and I'm so glad to be hanging out with you guys in Denver.
Yeah, I mean, because this is your home state. No, so are you a fan of the cold? Like I'm a fan of the cold? Because I've been really enjoying this sub-zero freezing weather.
Remember, I was in California for 10 years. So I'm totally a California weather person, but I appreciate all four seasons. So I don't love, this is too cold.
Way too cold.
Yeah,
way too cold.
It's -3.
Yeah, I'm not okay with that.
That's weird, right?
Yeah, I'm not.
Weird cold.
Again, everyone's like, well, you're from New England. You should be used to this. Okay, I did grow up in New England, but it doesn't mean I like it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I can handle these Colorado winter days when we get the sunshine, 40 to 50 degrees. This negative stuff.
Well, and today was like a mind trip because it was sunny and -3.
Isn't
that
weird?
was weird. Yeah, that was a little hard. But no, I do like the snow. I mean, come on, it's Colorado.
Yeah.
We didn't have it at the beginning. I was of this winter. I'm like, what is this? We don't have snow. So.
Well, and I feel like 15 years in Colorado for me almost at this point. A lot of our snow I feel like comes March, April, February. Yeah. We get these weird spring storms. But I was reading before we went on the air that this was the coldest day, the coldest low that Denver's had since the 1800s.
Really?
I believe it.
Pretty impressive.
I didn't hear that one.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be colder tomorrow.
I think we'll have to check in with our chief meteorologist, Kylie Burst, to really fact check that. But we're somewhere in that vicinity.
Yeah, cold again.
Yeah.
It's cold.
It's chilly. Yeah. I mean, but when it's cold like this, it kind of makes you feel alive a little bit. You're experiencing. But I'm on this kick right now where I'm trying to hold steady and go on walks every day. And I told myself when it was still warm out, I was like, even when it gets cold, I still gotta hit a mile.
So it makes you feel alive because your nostrils close and then you can only breathe through your mouth.
Because I'm gasping for breath.
Right.
Because it's so cold.
So that's what I'm alive. I'm alive. I can breathe.
It is that kind of cold though, where if you take a deep breath,
it's alarming.
Alarming.
Freezes within your lungs or something.
Oh yeah, if you do a hit of mouthwash or a little bit of hit of that Crest, and then you go outdoors and you take a big hit, you might choke. Yeah. It's so much menthol hitting that cold into your lungs.
I'm gonna have to try that tonight.
Refreshing.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah. So the weather is always a good talking point, but you're doing things. You've created a lot of excellent content. You're being an entrepreneur. Where do you find, because you definitely have a great energy. I know you said you used to cheerlead, but where do you like find your energy and drive to like push through? Because it's not always easy, right?
Yeah, 100%. Great question. I'm a creator. I'm a creator and I'm getting to create. So to me, my energy comes from probably just getting to do what I love to do. My journey has been long, great, hard, wonderful, all the things. I've worked on the biggest IPs and movies, but I'm also now at the very beginning, humbling as an entrepreneur and as a startup. And so I think I just get my inspiration from like that energy from all of that. Like, I don't know where all of it matters. And it's just different, I guess. You guys are creators. You're getting it from the same place, right?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I think, Art and I are both musicians, so we came from that creative background.
Yeah.
And but it's always interesting to hear, because like you were saying off air a little bit, that you don't really like necessarily being the front and center. You like the behind the scenes, the producing piece, the things that go unnoticed at times. I mean, because we can speak volume to the production side and what goes behind that. So can you speak a little bit to volume on that of like, rather than being the front and center piece to being behind the scenes, what does that mean to you and what does that bring for you?
Yeah, I think in my experience specifically, so I can give you a little background on where I come from. So I started in animation. I was at Leica Animation. I worked on a feature film called Coraline. It was the first 3D shot, stop motion animated feature project ever. So the technology on it was like groundbreaking at the time. We had to use interesting camera rigs. If you've ever seen it, it doesn't have a lot of visual effects. It doesn't have a lot of CG. It's all practical. It's all miniatures. It was done by Henry Selick, who did James and the Giant Peach. He actually also did Nightmare Before Christmas. Everyone thinks it's Tim Burton. Burton did the story. Henry was the director. So I worked for Henry on Coraline, and it was an interesting, like I said, it was this technology thing that was like more interesting to me than the celebrity side of it. And I got an opportunity to really sit in between. So my jobs really in the film industry have sat between production and marketing. So while the movie's happening, I'm collecting assets, working with the business side of the movie. To tell the story right, one, is actually most important. Making sure that through line is happening, because it changes on set too. Making sure that's like, because a lot of the stuff that consumer products, the games, all have to be done way in advance of the film. Yeah. So as you know,
so that way it drops all at the same time.
Right, and sometimes you're like, this is lame. Yeah. Because they're like, well, they had to do it 18 months ago, and the movie changed. Like, so I sat in that space, so I got to see all pieces of that from, because I collected that and I was part of the publicity. So we toured groups, right, that want to understand the production side, the stop motion side, the little bit of CG work we did, how we built everything, the talent side. Dakota Fanning was a Coraline main character. We had Terry Hatcher from Desperate Housewives. That's when Desperate Housewives was going on. So we had a pretty significant cast. And so I got to kind of play in all of it. Yeah. Especially working for Henry. And I just really enjoyed not the glitz part of the movie making, which is, people would assume that that's what I liked. But I just love the process.
What do you mean the glitz?
Like, everyone thinks you're in the business to
put your face out there.
Yeah, and get a credit or like want your name on there. Like, I was more about I just love the process. And I got to experience it very early on. Like, my first movie, I was working on sets of hundreds of people. I mean, that's very rare that you get to just straight into that. So I just appreciated that process. And it's just, so I like producing because I like the complication of it all. It's very complicated when you're working with a lot of people and personalities and money and all that. So I like the complexity, but I like the human side. The other part is human to me driven. It's more about the likes or the publicity of it all, which is fun for some people. To me, I just enjoy the process. I'm just a worker bee, I guess.
That's a pretty honest answer, especially when it comes to like show business, because it really does a lot of times come back to, oh, my name's on it, my face needs to be on it, I want to be the front and center, how much money can I get for it? So I think that's a pretty humbling position to take on it because I've talked to producers before and I haven't really quite heard that position, and I can respect that a lot, because I feel like the producers are kind of the hidden heroes behind the scenes a lot of the times, right? Mm-hmm. We've done a little bit of production here at DCP, and like just seeing what goes into that, everybody just sees the end product, right? Yep. And they see the credits roll, and that's all well and good, but it's like,
but people just look at the head. But by human nature, we look at the head credits. Mm-hmm. I think we're just like, oh, who's the big stars, or who the big producers are, who's the director, right?
Directed.
But
stars.
Then what about the literally hundreds and hundreds of other crew that's there? Yeah. Like I enjoyed that piece of it. Most people don't enjoy management, but I actually like it. I think there's magic to that. There's something magical of getting hundreds of people. I never did hundreds. I probably did 60 to 100 max. So when I was managing like certain shows. But it was magical to see it all work together. That was satisfaction to me.
Without like what you're doing, like without that, the end product doesn't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's easy to, the unsung heroes, like I guess is kind of what we're talking about. Like, it's easy to overlook how much work goes into it beyond like the bigger recognizable names, because every single name on the credits is important. And played a major role.
But 80% to 90% of the budget only goes to those top names. You really, that's literally how it's broken down in the movie industry. So that's why they're important, is because they're paid the most, right? And they had the head credit. Does that mean that they worked the most? Who cares? But like to me, it's more. That's not my goal. My goal is to like have fun. Gosh, we're in the movie industry. Let's have fun with this.
I know, right?
And it's not always fun. So to me, I try my best. I mean, it's not always in your control of how that, when you're working for your own. Now I'm not. So I set the tone as an entrepreneur of what that rhythm's going to be and culture going to be. But, I aspire to be like a good collaborator. I think as a producer, I've met ones that aren't either, but I think those are the best ones. That just know how to collaborate, that know how to like activate the best talents of the group. And to me, that's magic. That's what magic is. Like that's how you get, when we can segue into my next job that I had, but that's how you get to Star Wars level. And that's where I went to next. I was at Lucasfilm after Coraline and was there for 8 years working on all facets.
Come on, let's go. Let's go. That's just a fun project to even jump on and have the opportunity to be a part of. And, because we all grew up, like, so I just think, like, that's so cool that, and we could geek out on Star Wars. Sorry to interrupt. I had to do a little Star Wars geek.
Yeah, just we can geek out. And I love it.
It's epic. So that's a huge piece of your career path. And then, like, because you're stepping up. And then you get to this level of it wasn't Lucasfilms at that point. Was it Disney or?
No, I was there. I was there. Oh my gosh, like 2011. So yeah, it was Lucasfilm. I worked for George Lucas. How cool is that? To say that I worked for George Lucas.
Super cool.
Did I like hang out with him every day? No. Did I see him a couple times and shake his hand? Yes. But his essence was there. Like George was the Yoda, and at the time when I got there, they were doing Clone Wars.
Awesome.
They're fans, huge fan here.
So are you talking the animated series?
Animated series.
Or,
yep, that was on, I think, CW for a while. I think it was, or no, Cartoon Network or
CN.
Cartoon Network. Yeah. I came in, I don't know what season, but it was a couple of seasons in. So we weren't making films at the time, but that thing was cranking.
All I got to say about the Clone Wars is, all you listeners out there, if you guys think this is a kid's show, but you're into Star Wars, the animated Star Wars shows are so, like, they're so in-depth and so much epicness
Clone
that
Wars
happens.
Is awesome. Clone Wars, like, if you're a fan, like a fanboy, like, Clone Wars is epic. I think it's hard, though, a little bit for... The animation is... Like season 1 and 2 is like...
but
I love
the
it,
plot
but,
is still there.
Yeah.
Which season were you doing?
I actually don't remember where. I actually didn't work on.
Okay.
That was the only production we had going when I got in. Where I sat is in franchise. So I came in marketing and franchise, and so this is where I've learned the most about content. Was sitting in this role is understanding that Lucasfilm, Disney too, all of them, how they really make money is around the content. It's not the actual content. Though on paper you think it's the box office. They're making
So it's like
triple.
merchandise
They're making
and-
yes,
Okay.
games, merchandise, parks, experiences, live events. I mean, all of the things that you have on your shelves at home, your Star Wars stuff.
Legos.
Yeah, Legos, lightsabers, all of it, right? So licensing. That's essentially what they
Do you have any lightsabers?
I do. Now that I think about it, I'm like, I had to think about it. I think I have a hilt. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean that's the whole thing.
I also have a Death Trooper helmet
Oh.
from Rogue.
Oh.
Yeah.
From that filming?
No, from a partner, but like I have
Okay.
like the whole Rogue guy.
That's cool.
Yeah, I have some good stuff. I got to, because I was at franchise, I got to weirdly, because I was low into the totem pole. They're like, you can help clean out the like archives. Not like there's two archives. Where the Death Star lives is one archive, and then there was the marketing archive where they just like literally, it looked like Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Rows and rows and rows of just like stuff that you would like, from promotional items to posters. And so I had this like amazing job within the first 6 months of working there, of like going through it. I mean, it wasn't like glamorous by any means, trust me. Like it was kind of gross.
Yeah.
It was like dirty and there was rats and stuff. But I went through like the archive and found and got a lot of cool stuff. So, and then we gave it away. I'll tell them, please.
That's
Just
awesome.
Gave it a big giveaway. So people got like one of a kind, whatever, from the 70s.
Epic.
Epic. It was epic. So yeah, that's what happened when Disney came in. So that was like the big transition, is when we did movies again. So I sat in franchise for 4 years and knew the brand really, really well. And then Disney came in, acquired us, and they're like, we're making movies again. And you're like, hell yeah. That's why I'm here. So yeah, I was able to then move over to Industrial Light and Magic. And I was a producer there and ran a second unit, visual effects unit, for the films. I worked on episode 7, 8, Rogue One, and Solo.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah. So which is still weird to say.
Megan's all over here like.
I still like, it's even saying it. I mean, it's still weird. Trust me, I'm still like in awe that it happened. Trust me,
Yeah.
I'll never get over it.
Well, because when you're doing it, you're in the dirt, like you're in the trench, like
and
you're
it's hard.
focused.
It is hard. It's hard. It is hard. I mean, and again, it's technology. So I went back to technology, kind of where I started. I really enjoy tech. I like problem solving in that way. Technology is insane right now, as you guys are seeing it happen even for you in your own podcast world. And I love that. And Star Wars is kind of the dream to actually, obviously they're pushing the limit everywhere. So I got a chance to work on a unit that did commercials for Star Wars that you said you saw. Park
Excellent work.
experience, like laser shows, AR, VR, 360s, like really had a chance to innovate. Like I personally got to innovate, like
That's
with
awesome.
a team of people that weren't sure how to do it, which is what I think segued me into now being a tech entrepreneur, because I really kind of enjoyed the unknown slightly. It's scary,
Yeah,
but there's something cool
a
about
shot
it,
in
right?
the dark
Like,
beats a walk in the park.
there you go.
Right?
There you
Totally
go.
true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Shout out to
AC/DC.
AC/DC.
Yeah, I can't steal that.
That's our pump up song before we go on the air. But circling back to what you had accomplished there, I mean, did you feel like when you were, in the trenches taking grenades, as I like to say, in the thick of
Love it.
were you like extremely over analytical of your work, or were you just super in the zone, confident, like, man, I'm hitting the marks right now. This feels right. Because I feel like, on the creating side, sometimes it's easy to get over analytical, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder how much that applied to what you went through.
Great question. I had an incredible team. My job is just to orchestrate that team and make sure that they were supported. So, I mean, I don't know how deep the nerd realm goes with you guys, like ILM guys, but like
It runs deep.
So if you know who John Knoll is, or Dennis Mirren, or any of the like original kind of ILMers, George's like faves, I worked with them. I had these guys on my team, like as my, there's a visual effects supervisor, and then I was the producer, and
So John Knoll sounds super familiar. I always forget.
Oh, you want me to tell you?
names.
I'll tell you right
What
now.
did he do?
Him and his brother invented Photoshop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no big deal.
No big deal.
So George Lucas found him because he knew how to cut stuff out,
Okay.
right? Knew pixels the best out of anyone in the world, basically. And George was doing episode 1, the prequels, and it was all green screen. It needed someone that understood that technology.
Yeah.
At a like really high level. So yeah, and then, so John Knoll, there's like pictures of him, like it's funny, like he looks like a kid on the set, you know, of like episode 1. But yeah, and then I got to work with him on projects because there were a lot of, sometimes we needed his technical consultation, which is always like he'd talk and I'm like, you think I'm smart as you're sounding? Because I don't think I understand you. But he's genius. I mean, I literally work with genius. So when you ask like how analytical, I didn't have to be because it was Star Wars guys like working on Star Wars, right? So you don't really have to worry about, I wonder if it's going to look good. You know, they will tell me like, oh no, there's no way we're putting this out. You know, like we need another day on this. So, but what was tough is that I sat in a commercial unit. So a lot of the funding came from brands. So I was dealing with clients on top of commercial budgets on very large feature film projects. So it's more analytical and like having to manage that relationships, which is tough when you're dealing with an IP of that size because there's a high expectation on all sides, right?
Yeah.
That it's going to be incredible. And I think where the pressure is, I had multiple projects going at once, and I had multiple directors like looking at things and supervisors, but all of them ran up to the big guy. So whatever movie I was working on, they all got approved by Kathy Kennedy. They're all getting approved by JJ or Ron Howard, whoever it was, right? So, I mean, thankfully you have the team that's going to make sure that happens, right? But like it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of pressure. But again, I had a team that like I knew.
Well,
that was,
how are diamonds formed?
Pressure.
Exactly.
Lots of pressure. Yeah, totally. But yeah, I mean, I was just lucky to be part of a very interesting moment in Lucasfilm, and I just happened to be at I think the right moment in time to get to experience it like that. Because now it's a crank. You know, there's a lot going on there. I got to be kind of the middle kind of transition into this new world of streaming. We were right before it happened, and that's kind of like why I left. I saw it all shifting to streaming, and all the movies getting canceled and changed into streaming, which is basically, as a producer, all it means is less money, different formats.
Now, do you think that it's just like a real estate bubble? It pops.
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be like a streaming bubble that pops? Like everybody's creating their own streaming platforms and like trying to do it, and like eventually it's going to like they're not going to be able to.
I just think wherever good content's going to lie is where people are going to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So it really comes back down to.
I think it's down to. I do. I think if Netflix keeps delivering at the level they are, you'll stay. You'll keep your subscription. You'll keep Disney Plus because you can't lose The Mandalorian or whatever the next Star Wars is, right? Like, I think if the content, I hear a lot. I mean, we're obviously I'm in this game in streaming. You hear a lot of like, oh, there's going to be fatigue and this and that, and I just don't think this generation, our generation, and the younger ones have that. I think they're just consumers. They just love content. They don't really care where it's from.
True.
And then they'll pick where they pay for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Eventually, yes, I think, but I also think they're all going to collapse, and I'll have to
pick up the pieces when that
be
happens.
a conglomerate, just like they always are.
Yeah.
They're always going to collapse again, right? Like the big guys. I think where there's major opportunity for guys like you, independence, is what you guys are doing exactly right now. Like making money on your own and kind of creating your own space, your own way. I mean, maybe the pinnacle is Netflix for you guys. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or some bigger streaming platform. But
Does Netflix host a podcast?
but they're gonna.
'Cause we might-
They
It
will.
could happen.
Yeah,
They're going to. Everyone's going to start hosting.
We're gonna break that.
HBO. They have like basically podcast shows. I mean,
Yeah.
they're like roundtables, right?
Yeah.
Anything roundtable to me is like a podcast.
I would agree
Right?
with that. Yeah. I mean, it comes back to quality over quantity, I feel like, when it comes to a lot of these streaming services, right? And even podcasting at that point, because, you know, if you have good quality, whether that's a program that you really are dialed into on one of these streaming services, rather than the quantity. Because I feel like a lot of these streaming services, we have 100 plus of these original shows, but we only have really 3 or 4 that are good quality that people actually
Right.
want to tune into. So I feel like the quality over quantity speaks volume to the streaming industry.
Or like empty calories.
Yeah.
That's what I like to call it too. Like, is it?
Did you want some more?
Yeah. Fill it up. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But it's empty calories, right?
Right.
Like how how good do you actually feel watching that? Sometimes,
Yeah.
it's like where I think what you guys are doing here is exactly the example I feel is the example. Is what I'm trying to say. You guys are connecting. You have interesting things to say. It's different every time. There's something to that I think it's not NP calories. It matters. Wow. And so I think as cool as all the big things are, and I was part of that, which I totally support forever and ever. But I also think there's a window right now for independents to really tell their story. I mean, it's there. You guys have it. Like, we have the technology. We have the internet.
Well, that's a pretty nice thing to say.
Yeah, you guys are. I mean, I really believe like I think it's Gareth Edwards says it, who is the Star Wars director. He says that as much as it was fun, it was like, this is not a quote, but like as much as it fun making Star Wars, it was more fun making like little movies with my friends. So I'm gonna say that to you guys right now.
Oh, we have so much fun.
That speaks
Right?
a lot
like,
of volume.
Because you guys will pop, you'll get there. But like,
yeah.
there's something about these moments that are just different, like, and where I kind of want to dial back into because I did that, and that's cool. Cool, trust me, very cool. I feel really, really blessed. But what's gonna like fulfill me? Is it?
Great questions to ask,
Yeah.
I feel like, and one of the reasons I fell in love with podcasting is exactly what you just described. It's not and nothing against the late night talk shows, right? We all love those, or anything that kind of resembles what they do. But when you can get away from the unscripted atmosphere, I feel like, it adds a little bit more of authenticity.
Yep.
And people can relate to it. They can connect to the realness behind it. We call it the social media influencers all the time on the show. Show the realness as well, right? Because I feel like that speaks so much volume to what's going on in life. If we're just constantly looking at the sunny days, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, 100%. I would like to go on a tangent or go on down a rabbit hole with you guys on
The
this
floor
one.
is yours.
So this is where I feel we have a problem.
Okay.
Is this empty calorie? There's a lot of reports coming out now with like social media. Do you guys see this social dilemma?
Yes.
Okay, right. So you
That was
know
a
the
good watch.
context.
Yeah, that was a good watch.
Very good.
Which there's lots of data outside of that, but that's the example, right? Like there is something wrong with it. It promised connection, social media and the internet promised connection, but it has actually done the opposite of true human connection. It's created division, obviously with politics and what's happening with Facebook drama and all that. And our youth don't understand. I'm looking at, I think we're closest to the same age.
We
But
grew
we
up
had
without-
offline. We
Yeah,
still hung out
exactly.
outside.
Yeah, we had the dial up. Like if
Yeah.
you made a phone call while somebody was on the internet,
It wouldn't happen.
It would ruin it. Yeah.
Right? Like that was the thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Or your mom answered the phone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
picked up the phone, offline.
And how blessed are we that we got to grow up without screens in our faces?
I couldn't handle it. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that growing up.
I would be a mess.
way.
I'd
was
be a
already a
hooker.
mess.
I'm sure of it by this point. Like, no, it's too much pressure.
Yeah.
That was already pressure at that age too.
Yeah.
Like it was already weird, right? Growing up.
All right.
Yeah, so I think there's something to that. As it's empty calorie, it's not fulfilling, and we're finding that that's creating a lot of health issues, mental health issues. Gen Z they feel more depressed and more anxious than any other generation before them.
Well, I mean,
There's something
yeah.
to that. It's correlated to the fact that they don't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, we've said this a lot of times on this program that, talking to somebody in person and getting to know somebody and having a thorough conversation where you actually, spend time and energy without looking at your phone once. Like, come on. Like, people are always so distracted. And it's kind of, I would like to dial it back. So I've mentioned this a lot over the past couple months, but I've really been trying to not look at social media. Like it's good for promotion for the podcast and things like that. But as far as like just scrolling and like looking at needless, pointless information that doesn't do anything to help me progress, like I've gotten to that mode where I'm like looking at it, I'm like, this is a waste of time. Like even me just in my own head
Yeah.
without any input is a better way to spend my time than looking at this stupid social media stuff
with nothing back, nothing in return. I mean, it's not like you're. It's a false engagement. I think it's false engagement. They whoever they is, has convinced
Meta
advertisers.
We're gonna call out Meta right now. You guys need to relax on the public.
Yeah, exactly. Meta. Exactly. Advertisers, aka Meta. I mean, they've decided that volume and number of likes is what equates to, or views equates to success, which an interaction, which I don't agree with. I don't think that's genuine at all. What is that? How are you going to sell something by likes? That doesn't, to me, that actually doesn't translate. I think that's what everyone thinks it is, which then has driven these content creators, which you guys have talked to, sounds like influencers and such, that are burnt out. They're burnt out. Like, even the big ones who are making great money, they're like, this is hard. Like, I'm doing this by myself. Right? You're like, you're not in this space the way we get to be right now. Like, they are alone, and I think that's sad. That makes me sad. Like, yeah, you can make money doing this, but like most of them are depressed doing it. It's like, what's
You're not
the value?
fulfillment,
Yeah, because you're doing it. I think it's truly alone. I really, truly, I mean, look at them. The influencers, do they ever like more than one of them? No, they're in their bathroom by themselves. They're at a thing by themselves. Like, it is about them, right? But like, how much does that weigh on you? And you're constantly trying to figure out how to do the next thing, or the next brand pops in. Oh, I got to do this thing, right? Like, there's something that's probably not right for us as humans to be that alone, especially in production. Well, okay. To me, like, you're always around people.
Humans are like ants, okay? Yeah. We are better as a society. We make each other better. Like, just with Kevin and I both working on this project together, it's Discussion Combustion is better because both of us are involved. Like, we both have admitted, like, it wouldn't be the same if it was just Kevin's podcast or if it was just Arthur's podcast. Like, it wouldn't have the same energy. It wouldn't have the same results, you know? And it's so important, the human connection. And not just, and what you're really trying to dial in is a real human connection, not through a screen, like actually talking to somebody. And listen, I'm old school. I like to make phone calls. And I actually left you a message when I first invited you on the show. And
I got it. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's
I love that, though. Yeah. That's so great.
If you go in to listen to your messages,
I'll find it.
Yeah, for sure. It's in there. But like keeping it old school, you know, and actually talking to people, because when you're texting, you can't hear the tone of a voice. Like even just a phone call, like when you can talk to somebody and hear the tone of the voice, hear the emotion behind what they're saying, it means so much more than just reading things. So even if you can't like be in the physical space, like in the same room as somebody, like at least try to like get a phone call going or something, like where it's a little bit deeper than just, you know,
surface
level. Filter, a filter in a picture.
Yeah, that's exactly what it comes down to, and we become so accustomed to that. Again, I mean, it goes back to the, you know, we only want to show what's great, you know, and I think that we've fallen into that a little bit, and it sets a bar, a unattainable bar. I feel like overall across the board for a lot of viewers and for a lot of people that, you know, are influenced by this stuff. You know? People sitting on their couches. And look, who's kidding who? COVID did not help. It did not help. No, it promoted this kind of behavior and this type of social media nonsense.
And isolated us just by pure what happened, you know, I think. And then, adding this heightened ability, like heightened level of having to prove yourself online.
Yeah. How did we get there?
Social currency. I don't know.
That's
we're the
what's
millennials.
Weird.
We ruined it for everybody, by the way.
Is how do we get out?
How do we get out of it?
Yeah.
But you know, I feel like everything comes in like waves, right? Like decades and trends and things like that. I mean, again, going back to we're in the same kind of, you know, growing up generation of, you know, back then the only thing we had to worry about was, hey, are my clothes cool enough to go to school and things like that. Now it's like, well, I have to put a filter on and look the specific way so I get X amount of likes and comments, and why didn't so-and-so like it?
And then they don't even want to go to school because they don't feel comfortable without the filter.
Right.
That breaks my heart.
There you go.
You have to, I mean, coming from the old lady over here, like, you have to show up as you. Like, you can't get through life on a filter. There's just no way that's happening.
No.
And if we don't have confidence as humans, we're screwed. Like, we are completely screwed in that way. So I just feel like, to solve it, let's work on that. Totally. To solve it, I just think you have to get people in the room. People have to be together. I truly believe that, like in the physical space.
And what's important, like about that is because there's so much division in society right now. Like, and look, that's how they want us. They want us to be divided. So like,
so they have control.
Think about that. Yeah, they want to divide us. They want people to argue and like think negatively about your neighbors. Like, that's you're getting played. You're getting played if that's where your mind is at. So be wary of how much you're judging people with different opinions.
Yep.
Kevin and I don't agree on everything, and it's great because we've developed such a great friendship over talking about these serious issues and but with respect.
Yep.
And with, like courtesy and the information. Like, I've changed my opinions on things.
But what's the examples that are out there? That's the problem. You guys are probably great example, but there isn't a lot of, I think, examples of that. I think there is so much more of the opposite of it's us, it's me versus everyone else. Like, it's no one's out there like you guys are talking about, like communally thinking about this. It's very much like because it's still, they have to steal likes. I mean, that's the game. They make money like that. So you don't make money in theory collaborating, which is why I think we need to change that, because I think it's too hard coming from big productions, coming from a place that you cannot do it on your own. You need hundreds of people and brains to figure these things out. Mm-hmm. Like, why isn't that other places? Why aren't we still like, and that's tough too, but I think there's something just to the rhythm of that and the experience.
Oh yeah.
Even though it's hard as hell.
It is.
But it was a great experience. Like, working with the people I work with is the best part of it. Wasn't even what was on screen was incredible, and you get to sit there and just be in awe. But like, for me, it was that it was the collaboration and like the brains at the table. You're just like, wow, we just figured this out, like. And there's something that just brings us better as humans. I think we're just like missing that. That's my thinking.
There's a big disconnect there for sure.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head when describing what we need to get back to, and I feel like a lot of what profits right now is exactly what we're talking about, right? The division. We look at mainstream media. We look at the competition for views over opinions, right? I mean, that's what drives a lot of these clickbaits and, so-and-so did this and that, and TMZ comes in, and it's just all this negative nonsense that is not helping anybody, right? It's just competition for views, clicks, and likes. And I think when we can get away from that and go back to what we're talking about right now, collaborations, real conversations, sitting around a table, being real, right? Yeah. How did we lose touch with being real? When did being real become so uncool?
When people were more connected to devices than they were with other people. That's when we lost it. And so, like, I feel like to bring it back, people need to disconnect from the fake social media monstrosity that has overcome our young population. And people, even grandmas, are sitting scrolling for hours. Like, everybody is susceptible to getting pulled into this.
That's a good point.
Addictive.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's not age specific. You're right. Anybody can get pulled in at any moment into this nonsense. This endless scroll of questioning, judging.
Yeah.
Am I good enough? And not really focusing on what the task at hand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What makes you happy? Like, that's the question. Yeah. Like, what is your definition of success? Because people who are getting depressed from looking at social media, it's because they're comparing their lives, right? And so if you
envy, jealousy, things that just aren't needed. I mean, you don't have to, but it fuels that because it's at a level that's not attainable. It's a bar that's too high. Like, no one can be that. None of that's, like you said, is fake. None of it's real. It's all like produced in a lot of ways. And I think the way I was thinking of reframing it, though, right? You kind of, because I see it as like social media is going to play that game, whatever it's going to be. But I love movies. I love content. Like, I'm a consumer, like a digital lover. I love content. I love watching stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like empty calorie stuff. I like quality conversations, quality production, right? Good storytelling. So there's something to me where it's like we're already there in this digital space, right, with content. But it's reframing that, and it's looking at it as in like, where's your content from? And like, what are you watching and what are you supporting?
What are you trying to accomplish with the content?
Yeah, because the good stuff's still out there, like you guys and what we're doing at LoCo Plus. And I mean, there's millions of creators that are out there that are doing really good stuff. So I think it's like it's a delicate balance because I think it's important that we tell stories through content. I mean, it's the only way you can really connect with somebody, like, and on a media level, right? Storytelling is from the beginning of time, how we've always connected with each other, whether it's around the campfire or a book or streaming service, right? Or you guys. So I think we don't want to lose that. And we just happen to be now in the digital age. But how do we still get around the campfire? Mm-hmm. How do you still have narrative and connection through digital, but still have the connection of offline and in real life? So, I mean, that's to me where like the magic
that those
is.
two things like can't be in unison?
Okay, let me talk about this because you guys grew up with Facebook, right? Back in the day, remember how Facebook used to check in? Do you guys remember that? You used to check in. Like, it was a cool thing. Like, you told people where you were, which is like, now I'm like, I would never do that.
Well, like you like checked into a
Yeah,
restaurant?
you like checked in, but you went on Facebook to see where your friends were checked in at because then you just meet them there.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, there was this minuscule moment where Facebook was off. Like, you used that for community. And I was in college when it came out, and I was part of the test group of Facebook. So it was just my college. Mm-hmm. I couldn't network outside of that. And so you did use it as like, where's the biggest party at? Like, where's the free beer? You know, like you used Facebook to actually go offline for a minute. And then it just...
And I think you're right. That's what it was designed for, right? If we really pull back the layers of Facebook and social media, what it was designed to do.
And meeting the girl. That was the whole thing. That's why Zuckerberg did it, right? He did it to meet the hot chick.
Right.
And then he actually met her because he got her online, and then he met her offline.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you're right. It was kind of college specific, too, when it first came out. So I could see, was it 2004 when Harvard... And the Zuckerberg kind of launched that.
I want to say 4 or 5, 2005. Yeah, one of them.
Because I didn't I wasn't in college, so I couldn't. I wasn't cool enough to get on it until it was like readily available.
Yeah, you opened to the group.
Yeah,
bigger masses.
I was one of those people who's like, hey, can I come in? And then, but to speaking to your point, I remember when you could broadcast your location. So and so's at Chili's.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Let's go to Chili's.
And you're like, oh, I'm at Chili's. I want to go there. I'll meet you. But like, now that's just not. I really can't think of another mechanism like that other than like Nextdoor, which your mom uses, right? You guys know Nextdoor?
I do. And
Nextdoor.
there's you see some robberies on Nextdoor.
Yeah, my mom's like, "Oh, did you check out Nextdoor?" I'm like, "No, Mom, you're the only one that reads it."
I wonder if my mom's on Nextdoor.
She is. I promise.
You think?
Does she have
100%.
Mom, are you on there?
Does she have one of the cameras at her house?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they're like, oh, here's the deer walking by, and someone will post
Ma,
like
are
them.
you on there?
Or like, there's like a coyote in the neighborhood, and they tell you that. Like, it's very, but there isn't a lot of things out there that are really connecting that like hyper local, right? That you know what's going on.
When I was living off of 8th in Colorado, there were some interesting Nextdoor things that would pop up. Just there's some interesting people in the city.
There's some funny stuff. People that complain about stuff or like give you a heads up on. Yeah. So I think just going back to that, just connection, just real community connection.
You got to disconnect from the phone. See, here's the thing: is if your phone is controlling your time, then you're getting played because. And I've been there too, where like I want to just pick up the phone and the muscle memory.
Do you catch yourself?
Yeah, I say this is garbage.
It's terrible.
And I throw my phone
I'll
down.
literally be like, and I'm like, they got me. Like I
what
know
is
that
this that I'm
they're just
looking at?
feeding me exactly what I want, like puppies. And,
Social dilemma, like we talked about. I mean, they're all competing for our time, and a lot of times they win.
And they're making money on you. You're not making shit on any of that.
You're actually losing time and money by looking at nonsense.
And what do we gain out of it? What do we gain? Does it cure boredom for a moment? Sure. Does it fill an awkward moment? Because that's why I see it the most when I'm in public and people feel awkward.
Oh my gosh, the elevator.
Your phone. Elevators. Right.
I try not to grab my phone now. I'm like, I'm just going to suffer
good.
through this 30 seconds of hi. But yeah, everyone picks up their phone. I mean, LA is the worst.
LA is probably the worst. I've seen a lot here in Denver too. But I challenge, and I put this challenge out a lot on this podcast.
Weekly challenge right now.
Yeah, the weekly challenge, as always. I'm going to I've done this challenge a few times. Put your phone down. When you're in a public environment, because I love going out to restaurants by myself, having a meal, hanging out, keep that phone down. You don't need it. Leave it in the car even. What do you need that thing for?
Yeah.
What's it going to do for you?
Yeah.
Observe the room, take in the sights, the smells, the sounds.
Meet somebody, say
Meet
hi.
somebody. Yeah, you just never know. I mean, because when you're just buried in your phone, there was a guy that did a poem a few years ago. I think it was called Look Up. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I think you showed it to me.
And he just it was a very well put, well spoken poem where he just talked about, hey, if you had looked up, you could have met this gal walking across the sidewalk, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Silly, but also speaks volume to what these phones do for our distraction level. And you can really pick up on it because I love people watching, especially in airports. I love traveling airports.
Let me tell you guys a little secret. So animators, like for stop motion and for like CG, they all go to the airport just for study.
Just to hang.
Study. Because you have to study how different bodies move, right? Someone's going to walk with lanky.
Wait, so
Someone's
are
gonna walk like this.
animators in an airport right now video cameraing people?
I don't think they're video cam. I think they literally
how do they bring that
visually-
back then?
I just think they study. It's like if you read books, right?
Okay.
You study in a book, you understand.
What's
They
a
study
book?
body language. They study.
No, I'm joking.
What'd you say?
Oh, I said, what's a book?
Oh, I don't read either. It's good. But yeah, they just study the
body language.
Yeah.
People watching. Airports are one of the best places to do it.
That's
but-
interesting.
Watching.
fact.
But the first
now
step-
watch people watch. Now you'll see watch how they move. Watch how dynamics are.
Yeah.
Like just even the movement of how just where you're from or very different. So anyways, that was a secret they'll let
It's so
me in
fun
on.
reading
They all-
people. That is a
Yeah,
cool secret.
reading people.
And
Yeah.
so immediately my mind went to, okay, well, they have to be only watching them come into baggage or into check baggage, right? Because they're not getting past TSA.
Yeah.
Right? So they're
They just
observing them
sit
from the
right
time
there.
that they
Yeah.
check their bag in to the point of the security check, right?
Yep.
And that's probably a good time to observe people's body language because there's a lot of stress at that
Yeah,
moment.
it's stress. Super stress. Or the Uber. You can wait in the Uber, like LAX Uber line. That's super stressful.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah, fun times.
I've never taken an Uber from an airport. I've only taken an Uber to an airport.
Oh, well, it's bad. It's the worst because everyone gets off at the same time.
Yeah.
And then surge. And then everyone's going at the same time. And they time it and they upcharge.
Oh, they know what they're doing.
So, yeah, they totally know what they're doing. I travel a lot, so I know
You know
all
the
the
game.
ins and out. Yeah, totally.
What's, in your opinion, worst airport to best airport to get through quickly?
I really like DIA. I think
he's
it's the
pretty good.
best. I just think, Atlanta's really good too. I don't know if you've ever been to Atlanta Airport. but
Atlanta.
It's just it's
Aren't
the
they-
largest or most popular or something.
I was
going to
say, aren't they the number one most passenger traveled airport?
Yes, it's something very. It's the number one.
Okay.
Yeah,
It is.
So it's great.
wow.
It's it's considering that's what you're dealing with. They're pretty great.
They move along. Worst airport.
I can't say LAX actually because I don't think it's terrible. They have so many damn terminals. Probably LaGuardia or any
New York.
of the
Yeah.
New York airports. I think are not great.
Yeah, New York. Yeah.
That's a good one though. Seattle. Have you guys been to Seattle?
Yeah, I know Art has. I haven't.
I was there.
That's
it
a
was
good
nice.
airport. That's
It was nice. I really like Seattle. I like the
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest
Me
a
too.
lot. I haven't been there long enough though to where I know if
You'll get depressed.
Yeah.
You will.
yeah,
You just will. I'll just tell you that.
yeah. I would like to think that my
Because
inner
you're a Denver
sunshine.
guy, so you're this is
Yeah.
People told me that before I moved there when I lived in Portland, and they're like, "You'll be fine,"
But
and then I met the locals. They're like, "No, you won't. If you are not okay with straight clouds for months, this is not your place." And then
how do you know until you've been there?
Well, the first 2 years were great years. Mm-hmm. I was like, "What do you guys?" It was mild. It was some sunny days. It's fine. And then the third year was I'm not joking. 9 months, I did not see the sun.
Really?
Yes, it was terrible.
And that was tough.
Yeah,
9 months?
You
straight.
You almost
straight.
have to take a vitamin D pill or something.
Well, you can drive east, so you just have to drive 45 minutes
away
an hour,
from
and
the
it's
marine
kind
layer?
of it's kind of then you go into high desert plains like Denver, kind of that.
9 months?
I'm not joking. They're not kidding.
Wow.
They're not kidding.
yeah,
So,
yeah. See, as much as
Denver's
I would
good.
want to go there,
Yeah.
I know I would.
Give me the sun.
Yeah. Even if it's cold, we were talking,
Yeah.
at least it's sunny. It's the clouds.
I don't know. I've been loving this winter more than most winters I've ever experienced. There's something about this 2021 year going into 2022. There's just this, and I'm just loving it all because I only have today once, and so I'm gonna squeeze every ounce of juice out of that fruit. And that's how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so much fun. But I would totally move to the Pacific Northwest for 90 days. And then
That's it?
I think that's enough for me.
I think in the summer.
Yeah. Yeah. When it's less clouded. But I would like to travel to I don't know cuz Arizona's too hot. Texas is too humid for me.
We're going Tejas, buddy.
Yeah. Kevin really wants to move the project down to Austin
Okay.
Or Dallas.
or Dallas.
DFW.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this would really work well in Texas.
Yeah.
Austin, man, I have not been there, but I think we're going to South by Southwest soon, in the next couple weeks.
Really?
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. So maybe I'll get a chance to check out Austin. I'll let you know how I think. But I hear it's awesome. I have a lot of friends that have moved there.
You know, I've
they got
heard-
out of the
I've
Bay
heard-
Area, and they're like, Austin.
I think Nashville would be a good place to go.
Nashville would be fantastic.
Love Nashville.
I'm a big country
been?
music guy.
Been,
So.
yeah.
Oh yeah, but I'm like I go to like party. I don't know if I could live there. I don't know if I could live. I think I'd be in trouble. I mean, that's my scene. That is my scene. Broadway is my scene. And I went just in August for a bachelorette party. Very cliche. It's very fun. And we went to the Grand Ole Opry though.
Ooh, Grand
That
Ole
was
Opry.
like, yeah, that was our like bachelorette. Like she wanted to do that. I'm like, this is my girl.
Was
Yeah.
anyone performing, or you just guys went and saw the?
No,
venue?
we went and saw Bobby Bones was the MC. Do you know he's on like one of the syndicated stations here?
I mean, Bobby Bones.
Bobby Bones,
Bobby
exactly,
Bones.
Bobby Bones. And I can't remember who the artists were at the time.
It's
I had
okay.
a couple of drinks
Nashville.
before, but Nashville's awesome.
Yeah, I've heard.
Like
I've heard good
just
things.
I mean, every place has this band and it feels different. And I mean, yeah, I love live music. That's why I like
Yeah.
Denver. Denver has a good scene here for live
Denver
music.
has a
Same-
great scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great city. A lot of potential here too.
Yeah.
I think that's why you're growing the LoCo Plus. You know, this is going to be a great city for that.
Yeah, tell me. I want to ask you guys a question. What do you guys like see for creators and like the creative space here? Because I'm new. I'm just getting in. Like, tell me what you guys have seen, at least, especially over the last like 3 years.
Local music is big here.
Yeah.
I played in a band, the Ridge Runners, had a lot of fun. You know, that's what kind of got me into the entertainment scene here in Denver. And then just being able to meet a lot of local musicians in Denver. These guys are very committed.
Yeah.
The music scene here is great. The comedy scene is great. I feel like the entertainment scene here in Denver has so much potential. The venues here are fantastic. You know, going from the Gothic to the Ogden to the Fillmore.
Now they
the
have
Bluebird.
the Mission Ballroom.
Mission Ballroom, yeah.
That's like I haven't
Summit
been there
Music
yet.
Hall.
Somewhat
I
new,
mean,
yeah.
Denver has some amazing venues.
Yeah.
So much potential for performers, for comedians, what have you. I mean, this is a great entertainment city that I think has so much potential.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my take on it would be that there's a lot of creators and there's a lot of people that like have ideas and want to do things, but they're maybe missing that like stream that way to connect. Like
Yeah.
so it's cliquey in a sense. Like everybody's kind of doing their own thing. People aren't really collaborating. And like when I was making music back in the day, like just like how you made music too, like I was into rap and stuff, but like it seemed like
Wait, rap? You rap?
yes. So it's
Will
article.
you send me a track? I
Yeah,
wanna hear it.
I've made 90 tracks produced, but
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's
oh,
so
yeah.
cool. And I want to hear your music too. Please
Sure.
send me.
Yeah.
I just love all artists. So.
oh for sure. But like it just seemed like very cliquey, and it seemed like people didn't want to really get together to celebrate each other.
Yes.
Like everybody was trying to make it themselves
Mm-hmm.
and not bring everybody with. So I think that's really where I feel like Colorado lacks, because there's so much talent out here. There's so many creators and so many people that are doing awesome things, but I feel like they need to share the stage and,
Yeah.
and like allow other talent to also have that part of the spotlight and like it's to be shared and,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's kind of what's missing from Colorado.
Yeah, I'll give you a little insight. Like we've opened in Atlanta. I've been in LA a lot. We're working on a lot of stuff there too. And I will tell you the problem's the same no matter what market you're in. You would think that LA would be different, or Atlanta. They have a great creator infrastructure because of the production that's happening there. So they've got a lot, kind of the swell that's happened over the last like 5 to 10 years there. But they have the same problem, honestly. Like that's what I've learned in this process of LoCo Plus. Like outside from curating content at a local level, at a community driven for video creators, content creators, musicians, to like rise together. That's the part that's missing, I think, from the whole equation of all the things out there. And by design, though. I mean, the design is not to make... They want you to be singular because they make more money off of that, as in view counts, right? So But a lot of the times, you guys are. I put you guys at a an independent creator content level, like you guys are killing it. I mean, the views you guys have, the momentum you've had. But a lot of creators just can't get there. Like they have just as good as content. They don't maybe have the the equipment as well, or they can't get the guests. But like they have maybe 5,000 views, and the guy next to him has 1,000 views, and they can't really get past that. So my whole thing is like, let's get us all together. Like, because if they like you and you like them and we're all kind of like vibing and I think we also like have a home bias, right? Like you kind of lean more towards Denver people because you live in Denver, right? Mm-hmm. Like you like the Broncos because you live here, right? There's a home bias, I think, too, with creators that we're just not taking advantage of. Like we actually could take it, like turn that around instead of it being like 1-to-1-to-1, it's like, let's be the Denver Broncos. Like, let's be the team. Let's represent the place and rise all tides as a group. And I think that just isn't the model out there. So what we're doing is trying to shift that and do it at a local level, because that's really, I think, in my humble opinion, the only way you can do it.
Sure.
Because I don't know how you do it at the internet level, because it's too hard to curate.
It's so vast.
That, yeah. So you kind of have to niche it out, which, to me, it's like we're talking, just kind of circling back to how do you connect, right? It's like story, which is now digital typically, however that medium is. And then it's connection offline. So that's what we're going to do at LoCo Plus. We're making sure that transaction from both financially for creators, that they can ticket, that they can move their audience into a more rich experience outside of the podcast online. And then also to like, coming with my Star Wars background is understanding that IP engagement, intellectual property, creative engagement, fans will love you if you give it to them. Mm-hmm. If they really love you, they're going to buy the sticker. They're going to support you. They want to be part of it because we're human. We want to connect.
It means something.
It means something to them. Exactly. So as much as it may look like it is commercial, it is a way for creators to make money, which is very important to me and dear to my heart, making sure creators can make a living around what they do and they love to do. But yeah, it's about the connection and how do you do that? And I just think audiences want it too. I don't think that if I like personally had this, just pretend I'm like an outsider, right, of my own company, I'd be like, I want to know who's cool in the room. I want to know who's cool in Denver. Where's the comedians at? Where's the chefs at? Like, there isn't a way to find that. And I've tried. I've tried on the big platforms. I've tried to find you guys and Atlanta creators by saying, I want to find Atlanta podcasts. Like, you cannot find them. You think you can find them, but it's just like...
Yeah, you think.
They'll figure it out soon, but I think it's really important that we
why aren't the hashtags working? Because we hashtag Denver's podcast all the time.
Yeah. I know.
What's going on with that?
Welcome to YouTube.
Dominators. I mean, just the world of internet entertainment is a very, very crowded market for sure. And that's where I think it's cool with LoCo Plus too. I mean, when you look at the R&D and the research development that you guys are doing on how to connect the local community, it really brings it back to that old school kind of way, right? Forget the hashtags, things that we think that are going to work. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to the roots and get everybody on board. We're all playing for the same team, and we're trying to help each other win.
I totally agree with that. I just don't think anyone's actually like given permission to do that.
And that's the biggest question I have is like, how do we get over that hurdle of getting that known that this is a possibility that everybody can get together and promote this stuff? Right?
I really think it's an aggregation. Like, and I hope I can do the best at that. I think someone has to aggregate it. Someone has to say, creator A, creator B, let's all hang out, and that's what we'll do. And then on top of that, I think it's also having, as any good mental health expert would tell you, is having support. Like, and I mean that from a very basic level of support between each other. So whether that's Discord channels that we're going to build or offline events that the creators connect, resources. We're bringing in a partner. We're announcing it next week, but I'll announce it here with you guys because it's exciting. But it's Fun Film IO. It's a partner that we brought in who they have a database of funding for filmmakers and content creators. So you just put your project in, they match you, they tell you all the deadlines, all the submissions. So it's an easy way, because if you're fundraising, it's very complicated to find everything. You just don't know where it's at.
Yeah.
So we've partnered with them to bring that into our platform to make sure creators can find funding. In Atlanta, we partnered with 2 production studios. We've hosted events. Creators get discounts when they book there because they're a Local Plus creator. We definitely want to build the support, mental health, even support around the journey too. And then really, it's about the journey of the creator. It's up to them. Like, I want to empower and support, but it really has to be your own. And the reason why that's important, because the second you decide to give it up, meaning give it to the big guys, Netflix or streaming, you will not own that journey the same way you will own it.
Yeah.
Before you do that.
That's true.
So owning that journey is very important, in my opinion, to the longevity of your creative scope or your financial stability is going to be very determined on how involved you stay with that IP.
Yeah.
And
solid.
So it's important that I think, and that's what I feel like I can bring to the table a lot with creators, is to help them understand what you do is very important. What your creative voice is your moneymaker. I know you don't think it. You think it's I just need to get the thing, which is great. We all want, I think there's a moment that we all want, kind of in that pinnacle, but you will not have the same journey if you do it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Epic.
You won't get to choose your writers. You won't get to make residuals, which we can get really nerdy and move into Web3. I don't know if you guys are crypto guys or are in this space, but
Kevin's in crypto.
I'm a crypto investor.
So this is where I see if you take all the crazy crypto and Web3 conversation, it goes down to ownership. I mean, just truly ownership, which is why I think Web3 is very aligned for what we're doing. Down the line, we'll get there into that space, but we're really about ownership. Creators owning it. We'll never own anything. We just want to support and give the tools. We'll take fees off of that, but we'll never own any of it. And to me, that's really where crypto sits so well into the journey, in which, again, it's the Wild West. It's nothing that I think it's going to take a while to shake itself out. But what I'm excited about is just purely ownership. I think ownership and accountability around that is very important amongst the training, kind of the knowledge that I'm saying, no, that's vital to your journey. And then here's this thing in the future that may be able to kind of keep that integrity down the line.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Sum it all up. I mean, one of the biggest things we say here is what? Own it, right? Hashtag own it is a big piece of everything. I mean, if you're going to get behind something you're passionate about, you're going to partner with somebody, whatever that case may be, you got to own it.
Yep.
And I think that circles back to really everything we've talked about.
Well, and do it for the right reasons. If you're a creator and you're actually trying to put something out there, don't do it for potential, likes or for potential, you're doing it because you're passionate. And that's when you will see success. I feel like it's so easy to jump on, this trend or that trend. This might be fun to create that. I might be good at that. No, but are you actually passionate about that? Do something that you fully care about, that you can actually commit to, that when you lay in bed at night, you're actually happy and fulfilled with your life. Because here's the secret is you got to enjoy every day the most that you can, because life cruises by super fast, and it just like that, my 20s went away over dumb shit, over drugs, and now I'm stepping into. So if you're a creator out there, you're really trying, do it for the right reasons, do it for your reasons. Question what
the money will come. Because authenticity is what sells right now. It's dying. The other version is dying, and there's a whole new I think it just open window because of technology, because of distribution, and because of just here, the cameras you guys have. I mean, the fact that you can just do this and access audience this fast is a one-up than we've never had before. And then virtual production, Mandalorian stuff. You're a nerd. You know what I'm talking about. The cool virtual stuff they're doing in that space that's now going to all virtually, some not necessarily Mandalorian, but like that technology is going into the metaverse. Like all one, like one pipeline, which is crazy. So this whole space, ownership, assets, creators, authenticity is going to be vital to the future. I think and I also think the next generation, Gen Z, ain't gonna buy any other bullshit. They're like, nah. I saw them do that, and I want something that's more authentic, more real. Yeah. And it's gonna be kind of up to us, I think, to lead that.
Well, and that's what I like about what you're spearheading here, because you're seeing the need, and creators out there, like, let's bring our community with us. Like, we have repeat guests all the time on the podcast because like we like to follow up and build that friendship and build that it's this conversation is more than just a podcast to Kevin and I. Like if we can sit here and like open
Connect.
up and like actually have like something that's meaningful, like that makes our lives meaningful. And it's just bringing people with on that journey too brings strength. It brings collaboration, it brings new ideas. So it's like there's so many benefits to having people put in their input and also be a part of it, because this isn't just Kevin and I. This is every single guest. This is Megan. This is every single person that's listened. Like it's an accumulative effort of what has created, and like stay humble. Like I don't know. There's so many areas of creating that is just.
But let me just I'm gonna just be the real producer in the room though. But you have to make money.
True.
Damn it. You have to make money you cannot be hungry and be creative. I just don't, I think that's a very hard equation to do. To be free, right? You guys are doing probably other things and doing this, but to actually do it full time, you have to make money around it. And that is a big gap I see in the market. And I'll give you the stats on it. 97% don't make money that are doing what you guys do.
Wow.
3% are making minimum wage or higher.
Yeah.
Out of 50 million content creators.
Yeah.
So to me, cool. We're all making good content, but there is something to that gap for me. For
sure.
Right? And that's why everyone aspires to be at Star Wars or good at these things, because it's these pinnacles of stability and credit. But I feel like there's more rich story and a renaissance that we're not tapping into because of that. So it's we need to figure out how to get, and it's not a lot. We're not talking $250 million that we spent on Star Wars, right? We're talking tens of thousands to help out for a really long time a creator that's going to produce insanely interesting content. So that's I think the weight that's not it hasn't balance itself out yet, which is coming, but I think the whole infrastructure has to be switched over. It can't be YouTube, it can't be Instagram, it can't have algorithms, it can't feed itself in that way, because how do you undo that? You can't undo that. You have to completely start baseline, which is what we're doing, and we're saying no algorithms. There's no algorithm, there's no advertising. And we're getting sponsors to come in. They will sponsor as a podcast level for any content, right? So it's Coca-Cola supports me, that's it. They're just going to support what your story is. And I think that is authenticity. That is what people will buy. And we just have to figure out the new infrastructure. We need creators like you to be yeah, I want that. And then we'll do it. I think that's it's been this interesting, you got to get the creators on board to be yes, I'm in. And then we can build the tools and we can build the tech that's going to solve all of that. Because that's what I do best is tech. I mean, we can solve all of our problems, honestly, through the little device, as much as we don't want to be on it.
I know.
But there's a lot of problems we can solve
it's a tool.
on it, too.
It's a tool, and it's important to use it. It has its place.
Yeah.
But
not empty calorie swiping and all that. Yeah.
Use it as a tool. Don't let it use you. Sort of thing.
There you go.
I like the sounds of it. I mean, I really do. I think that now is the time more than ever to really capitalize on that type of marketing, especially when it comes to local creators, right? Because, I mean, you really just hit the nail on the head when it comes to 97% of creators don't make money. That's a very high number of people putting their heart and soul.
Minimum wage or higher. So you're talking probably 2% of that, then probably is minimum wage, and the 1% is the one that are like the ones that everyone wants to be, right? That you see.
Yep.
I want to be that.
Yeah.
And there was something too, like this other stat. They did a survey on kids. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Mm-hmm. It's like the top 5 are like they're influencer, actor, and like celebrity.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
No doctors out.
No firemen.
No. So it's like but they're only seeing the 3%.
Yeah.
Right, or what they're mimicking off of. The ones that are, because that's what they see. They're seeing the makeup girl or the money or the cars, or they want that. Just like we used to see that as doctors, lawyers, and actors.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
Those are the 3 that we kind of like saw that as, but now it's influencer.
Yeah. That seems to be a motivating factor for a lot of people. Yeah. I wanted to be meteorologist.
TikToker, whatever. So. I'm sure there's another title for that
TikTok's a big one.
Yeah.
I think any form of, whether you're an IG star, TikTok, all that stuff, a lot of people are like, oh, I have it, and everybody thinks they can do it, and they can. Everybody has the capability to go out and own it at any moment. But like you're saying, there's a lot of obstacles here that come along with it. 97% don't make money doing it. And
also the algorithms are messed up. I mean, let's just call that out. Like,
sure.
I mean, TikTok is on fire right now because they are.
I don't do it.
Well, they're crushing people of color algorithms, and they know that. So because in their algorithm, people that aren't of color perform better. So they crush algorithms of African Americans, which tend to be the TikTok the dancers. They're the ones that are making the culture on TikTok, and they're getting algorithms changed because of AI. I mean, it's all dialed into AI, whatever sells, right? So it's complicated. They've made it really complicated, I think. It's not that it's already not complicated offline. It's like now we have this other layer of like regulating all places, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just think that opportunity has to be for everybody. So
I can agree with that.
Like whatever that is to me. Like I was saying, like someone said, like, what's your main demo for LoCo Plus? I'm like, I mean, obviously consumers are going to, there are millennials, but my creators, all ages, everyone, every color, every person, everything, every culture is invited. Like that's what we should be like celebrating. Yeah. And that's how cool this is going to be, right? Like Atlanta is going to have a completely different culture than Denver is. I use actually weed a lot in this example when I'm like comparing markets. Atlanta doesn't have legalization yet.
Yeah.
Georgia, right?
Yeah, what's up with that?
But I don't know.
We don't need to get into that.
It's not like it's not there. It's like the rapper community. It's like marijuana is a huge part of the culture in Atlanta. But it's like a different completely different culture than in Denver. Like I grew up here. Weed's been in my life forever, like as in just culturally accepted here. It wasn't like, oh, it legalized and everyone was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, no big deal. Like it was a different culture here. So even just looking at that piece from a content level and what's happening in markets is very cool and interesting. And we should celebrate those things. And the music is obviously completely different. And then you add like Montana. Like what's Bozeman got?
Yeah.
Like I wonder, no one's asking, right? Like no one's asking like what's there. So that's to me what's going to be the coolest part of this experiment is just to ask for it, give a space for it to show up, because I just don't think anyone's giving permission right now.
Well, I mean,
to do that.
So I got to say this. I mean, your passion behind this project is absolute, okay? And so that's one of the things that is really going to speak toward the success and this collaboration that you're manifesting here and creating is that you do have this passion behind it. And like that's really what I feel like everybody needs is to, find something that truly like you can get behind, stand behind, and love that project and really, feel alive. Like, 'cause that's what I guess I'm trying to dial home with my dialogues kind of this week is just really enjoying to the fullest, every moment that you can, because because it's so important to. I mean, you know, there's all this negativity in the world and all these other things happening, but like with
Can I have a question?
people like
I
you,
want to ask you this question though.
yeah.
Like you guys found your passion. I found mine too, right? I feel like very fortunate that you kind of dial in and find it. It might take some time. What I find with a lot of creators who aren't creating, because we're creators, we're producing, we're making it, you're putting it out there, you're doing it every week. But a lot of we're all creatives, right? But a lot of creatives and people don't know where to start. Like they really don't. They're like, oh, I know I can do this or I'm good at this, but like, where do I start? So I asked you guys, like, where did you start? Because I think that's important to tell people out there, like, how do you do that? How do you find the passion? Because you can say that, right? Like, find your passion, but you're like, well, I don't know how to start. Or like, I'm good at this, or I like to talk about this, but like, where do I, right? Like, how do you get going unless you find a buddy like you guys did? Right?
Well, I mean, you could take this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question to ask, too, and I think it's going to be different for everybody because
Yeah.
everybody's going to have their own approach to what works for them and how outgoing they want to be and who they have around them, right? So, you know, I circle it back to I had a passion for music, and I wanted to play music. I was fortunate enough to have a buddy that was a lead guitar player, right? So surrounding yourself with the right people, step one, for sure, of course. I mean, that's always going to help, you know, move you to the next level. If you know somebody that knows somebody, right, it's not always about, you know, what you know, it's who you know. That can be a big help.
Yeah.
But, you know, as far as I just think, you know, I always go back to something that I was motivated by when we started this project was planting a seed and watering it. So if there's something you're really passionate about and there's something you want to make happen in life, you take little steps for it every day, whatever the case may be, whether that's starting a Facebook page for your business, whether that's reaching out to a new person to, you know, acquire them to be a part of it, whatever the case may be, watering it every day. That's the advice I would give. If somebody has a passion for something they want to do, just take one little piece of action every day to move the ball forward.
Did you guys have each other to motivate each other in that? Or did you find that? I just feel like motivation on your own is so back to collaboration. I just feel like more accountable when I have people around me. I feel more motivated. I feel more accountable. I show up different.
Yeah.
Versus
Well,
if I'm on Zoom in my pajamas, you know, like pretending like I'm dressed, right?
I guess my thing that I would say to that is like, you know, and it's cliche, of course, but do you really truly understand your personal why? Like, are you truly trying to fulfill what is honestly making yourself happy? And that may take a risk. You know, that may take doing something that you haven't been doing.
Yeah.
It may take doing something that you're not familiar with, getting uncomfortable. And so I guess because we started on a cell phone. Like, we just did it, all right? Like, we just did it.
Like, you guys just did, like, FaceTime together? Or, like, how
No,
did you,
like,
you just recorded?
Yeah, we just propped it up
Okay.
in the corner.
Sounded like shit.
Yeah, crappy audio quality. And
And it was just you two and somebody else? Or
No, it was
you
just
two?
us two
your
talking.
Your first episode
Yeah.
was just you two.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was pretty shoddy, but like, you know, and we didn't know what was going to come of it, and that's the thing though, is like you don't always know what's going to come of something. So like, enjoy the mystery in life.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you have this drive, this passion, and you have this like pent up, like I can do something else with my life than what I'm doing, then you have to start doing something differently. And so that's my biggest thing is like, do it every single day. Like Kevin said, just a little bit at a time. But if you do it every single day and always hold yourself accountable, and even if you are having a bad day and you still are like, I'm still going to do a little something toward this. It's consistency. It's actually holding yourself to a routine and doing something that it's not a fad. It's not a hobby.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You change your lifestyle, and that's how you become creative. That's how you become the person that you want to be. Is by changing your lifestyle and doing it, doing the right thing for the right reason, even if it's hard.
That sounds like an entrepreneur to me.
Well, I'd hope so.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
because
like
who wants to be somebody else's employee?
Right, and I think that's that's my point, is that people don't see creators as entrepreneurs. And like in the tech business or in the VC world, that's normal. It's like, that's what you need, you know, to grow. Like, but for whatever reason, creators have gotten like X like out of this equation. And I just think there's just major opportunity. Like there's just money on the table that's sitting there that no one's activating you guys like that. And I think, you know, we just need to do it. That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
I like
So you
LoCo.
do it.
I like LoCo's LoCo Plus.
Yeah, I do too. I think that this is going to be fantastic to see how this grows in the Denver community. I think it's going to do really well. You know, bringing creators together. You know, I mean, there's just so much great talent in this city.
Yeah,
There is in
I'm
every
excited to
city.
find it. You guys are gonna have to help me introduce
we'll
me to
scratch each
everybody.
other's backs.
Yeah, I
we're gonna-
definitely
how it
need.
works.
We're gonna throw some parties. We do these creator meetups. We just invite a couple hundred.
Can we come to the next one?
Yes, absolutely. You guys are definitely already on the
Please.
list.
We're in.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, we had the ones in Atlanta were interesting because we did a showcase of a couple of creators, and then we had one creator he's a recording artist. He's independently, what is that? Distributed? I don't know, streamed. But he had an album release, and he was like, "Can we do a joint?" And we were launching, and he's like, "Can we do a joint thing?" And we're like, "Yes." We don't want to you
Yeah.
are Atlanta. So his 90s Fuck It vibes was the theme of the party.
Okay.
His album was all R&B 90s music. We provided the venue. He programmed it with his amazing 5-piece band.
Let's give him a shout out. What's
Jay King, the artist Jay King.
Jay King?
The artist Jay King.
Yeah, Jay King.
He's
Check him out.
So awesome, amazing. And he had so you guys remember in Living Color, the Fly Girls? So we had Fly Girl dancers. We had comedians. It was just, again, this is where I think we are going to be very different than anything out there, is that we want community to drive us, not a platform.
Love it.
So it's
Yeah.
not going to be about LoCo Plus. We're going to be just putting the gas in the tank, right?
Yeah.
But that was such a cool example. It was our release party, our launch party, but it was all about him, and it was better for us.
That's awesome.
Atlanta's hard to please, by the way, because they have some crazy ass culture that's amazing. And so, but we had all these artists being that was one of the coolest parties I've been to. We had Lunchables for cheese, nacho cheese. We had all the 90s pizza rolls,
Oh, yeah.
literally White Castle burgers.
Get that hitter.
Yeah, we made sure it was what he wanted, right? For his show. And it was just such a better experience than anything I've done.
That's so epic.
Letting someone else
So
lead it.
so
Yeah.
with all this experience, drive, and passion that you have, you gotta have some good advice for humanity. So we always like to ask our guests, if you had one piece of advice to give to humanity so everybody could be better tomorrow, what would that piece of advice be?
It's cliche, but I will say stay curious. Always wonder, ask, try. Just continue to do that, because that's, to me, that is the Renaissance. That's the thing that's going to drive everything. The creative vision is what moves the world, I think, in a good way. So yeah, stay curious, question it, look at it, try it. And I think we will all be better because of that.
Solid advice.
I like that.
Yeah, that's solid for sure. Stay
I mean,
curious.
isn't Steve Jobs? Somebody else said that too, but to me, that's you gotta
Well, and to dive deeper into that thought process, what does that mean to stay curious? It means that your way isn't necessarily going to be correct tomorrow. You might be on your thing today, and you might be right now, but it's just like an old dog can't learn new tricks, quote unquote, but an old dog can if that old dog stays open-minded. So don't close your mind in a box. Let's all
pivot. That's what we use. Pivot. Just pivot.
Pivot. Hashtag pivot.
Hashtag, because you just, it's a little bit. It doesn't have to be a full 180. It's just
do something a little different. Yeah.
Curious and then pivot. Curious and pivit. And
Okay.
find your journey. And I think I'm all about the creator journey. I talk about that all the time. Because I don't know since nerds here in the room, Star Wars is based on the hero's journey, which if you're familiar with the hero's journey, it's every epic story in the history of time is
It's a
based on the
circle.
hero's
It's a
journey.
circle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I feel like every creator is on the circle, and it's just a matter of where you're going to be and who you're going to meet along that circle and that journey, and how can I help that?
Yeah.
How can I?
You're
Because I
going to
understand
help a
it.
lot of
Yeah.
people.
I hope so.
You already have.
Just
Yeah.
come. We need creators are going to be the way that this changes the game.
It's going to.
Because then hopefully one day my big dream. You guys want to know my big dream?
Yes.
Is that I'll have a bunch of creators on this platform. We're going to pop. They're going to be killing it. Netflix comes to us. I want, the Combustion podcast. We want it. We're willing to whatever. And I'll say, great, that's fine. Here, they can, and they're going to give you a deal. And you're going to be like, nah, I'm good. I'll just stay with LoCo Plus. To me, that's the dream.
Wow.
Just purely as in I do better here.
Yeah.
Or, fine, Netflix, take that. I know my journey is going to be that. But I will stay with LoCo Plus because this is more enjoyable to me. This journey is fun. And this is lucrative
personable.
and it's personal and I make friends out of it. And it's a better infrastructure for me. That to me would be the win. The dream. The big dream.
I love it.
So
Totally obtainable. That dream
It's
is
gonna
here.
happen.
It's live action. It's going down. And that's a beautiful thing.
yeah. Well, again, we're here in Denver now. We're opening up here. We're going to concentrate here because we're still starting up in a small team. But yeah, we're ready to just, once the tech is about a couple months more out.
DCPC got your back.
We love it.
I know
and
DCPC
we can bring you
Nation.
guys too. Maybe we can have you guys do guest appearances in Atlanta.
Let's go.
I'm going to have podcasts in Atlanta come here. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. We have a couple of really good ones. Now I'm thinking about that. So
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well,
So excited.
there's a lot of brainstorming that
Yeah.
we're going to continue to do off mic.
Yeah.
But man, what a pleasure, Megan.
Thank
Getting
you
to know you. Thank you so
guys.
much for sharing your time with us
Yes.
and your talent experience and the things that you've been through and what you're working on now.
I'd be happy to come back anytime. We can nerd out more. Maybe we can just do a full sci-fi episode.
You never know what's going to happen around these parts, Megan. But one thing's for sure is you're going to have an adult beverage, and we're going to talk about some real shit, which we did tonight. I love what you're doing in the Denver scene. I love what you've accomplished, and all the great experiences that you share with us tonight has been fantastic. And I really think that we got a good thing going here. Let's keep building on it.
Yeah.
Let's build on that local community
Yes,
vibes.
local community. That's all we care about. Let's do it.
Epic stuff.
Yeah,
Rise tides.
let's go, people. Let's stay motivated. Stay curious. Let's pivot. Make it a great week.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us.
Good stuff. Really good stuff. Hashtag own it. We're covering all the good stuff. Megan, you were fantastic. You're going to be a repeat guest for sure. Hey, listeners, we don't know what's going to happen next week, but we never really do around these parts. But one thing is for sure, you can count we'll be back. And you already know, you need to be good to yourselves.
Because you deserve it.
Yes, you do.